I used to hate roller coasters. And I mean, like, to be clear...
And then you stop being a little bitch.
Is
that what you're about to say?
Your words, not mine.
Welcome to Things We Talk About. I'm a little drunk, and your host, Randall Thomas. With me, by my side,
forever and always, is Lazarus Kane, trying to keep things on track.
Okay, trying to do what?
Keep things on track.
Okay, I thought you said do things on crack. It's the headphones.
That sounds like a challenge. Like a yeah.
All right, so we were just talking about the movie Passengers.
Yeah.
Because your girl J-Law is in it.
I really want to see it, but I want to see it in theaters, and I feel like you illegally downloaded it.
No, I saw it in theaters. I had date night last night, man. My daughter was at a friend's house.
Oh, I thought date night was tonight.
The other daughter was not born yet. No, date night was last night.
Oh. Okay.
My daughter's at a friend's house, which is why we're able to record this without her playing Pokemon.
Whatever. Anyway.
So I watched Passengers, and...
I'm talking about bioethics.
Bioethics, because there's a scene in the movie where he goes into like an auto dock, which is...
Oh, an auto doctor? Automated doctor?
Yeah, which has been referenced in a lot of... It's in Star Trek, it's in...
Yeah.
A lot of different...
All
sorts of sci-fi.
Hologram. I'm trying to think of... Emergency medical hologram. EMH.
Yeah, even in like Fallout, there's an auto dock. There's a lot of different... like
automation comes to all industries.
Yeah, and it's
Keep
cool.
Keep that in mind, folks.
There's an auto dock, but one of it talks about like stem cell rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm.
So all the things you can do to treat a patient, and that's one of them. And I thought, how cool would it be in the future to have that? Now we'll take a whole episode in the future and talk about stem cell research and the like what is an ethics with stem cell research and how that works. But today we're going to talk about something even scarier than dealing with people who are anti-stem cell research.
Oh yeah.
What are we going to talk about?
We are going to talk about horror.
Horror, not horror.
No. In case you lapse into your accent.
It's not an accent. It's an absence of proper speech.
Okay. Anyway, you call it an accent.
Yes, it's an inability to talk properly. Let's be honest.
Hold on. It's a speech impediment.
Speech impediment. There we go.
All right.
I'll ride with that.
So, in our like grand concept episodes, we start with you, and it's what do you think horror is? What is it?
That's a good question to ask me. Because
I ain't scared of no ghost.
Sort of. Being, as you've accused me of being before, being super cynical, being very skeptic.
Resting upon a jade throne.
Resting upon my jade throne.
Yeah.
I have developed this inability to not be afraid. But...
Clarify that for me? Inability to not be afraid?
Yes.
So you're always scared?
Always scared. Of everything, including mispronouncing what I'm trying to pronounce.
You see, because you're so jaded, you see everything as a threat.
Nah, well...
That's what that means.
Yeah. Well, let's... You gotta look through the visor of Randall Thomas here, because what I had meant to say...
What I had
meant to say is that I have a hard time being afraid of things.
That's what I thought you meant, which is why I called you on your syntax.
To a fault, for me. To a fault. Because there are certain things I feel like I should be afraid of, and I am
like the boogeyman?
Completely unaffected.
Okay.
Like I've gone in the location that Lazarus and I live. There's a lot of like Halloween themed
clowns
everywhere, and there are the Halloween themed theme parks, and I've gone to those a lot as a teenager and as a young adult, and it's not scary to me, and it's laughable, and I've seen tons of scary movies, and if they're gory, they're cool and funny, but never are they scary.
Okay.
And the difference, I think a lot of people make. Now, you've accused me of consolidating words before, such as wealth and richness, of consolidating the words horror and creepy.
Oh.
Because you can be creepified by something.
They are two different things.
But it's not scary. It's just, dude, that's real. Like, you see a dude at the park by himself with a camera with a mustache. You're not afraid of that man.
Says the guy who loves his mustache.
Well, it's usually me.
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid of him, but it's a little creepy.
Yeah.
To see the clowns that
Unsettling.
are out and about. It's very unsettling. I wouldn't say that it's horror.
Right. And so and also there's a difference between horror and suspense.
Suspense.
Right.
Okay.
Suspense is like being on the edge of your seat.
You have an issue with suspense because you like to resolve whatever it is that you're talking about. You like a resolution to whatever it is that you are talking about. Now, for me, if you cut me off mid-sentence and change the subject, I don't give a shit. But for you, you like to finish what you're saying because that's suspense. That's suspense.
It depends if I started the sentence with the intent to tell you something.
Okay.
If we were just sort of like bullshitting back and forth and like didn't think that I was like revealing something to you or something.
Right.
But no, like I wouldn't say that like I necessarily avoid suspense because I watch suspenseful movies and I play suspenseful games and stuff like that. But you're right, it is a big thing for me.
When I was a kid, the most suspenseful / horror / scary, whatever you would call it, was Resident Evil, the first one. Do you remember that game?
I'm wearing my unamused face. Yeah, I remember. I played Resident Evil 0 on the GameCube.
I don't know. This is the only one I've ever played. And we're talking about like this PlayStation 1. It was one of the first games for PlayStation 1.
Okay, so it was probably Resident Evil 0.
It was
maybe
the first one. But there's a scene
okay.
where you're walking through this house. Now the game's not. It's 3D, but it's not really 3D. It's still you can only move one way and shoot in one direction.
0 is a remake of the first one.
Probably. That would make sense. But you walk through and these dogs jump through the window.
Yeah, you're walking down the hallway and yeah.
And before that, there had never been anything like that before that had existed.
You know what's worse in that game though? Because I don't know if this was new to. I'm just going to hijack your point entirely.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this was actually in the original one, but the red face zombies, where if you kill a zombie but you don't burn it, they come back as fast.
Yeah.
The first one that happens to is behind a table.
Yeah, that's the first
one.
So
you can't see it. That is
terrifying
because they get up fast and just like scream at you.
And I've played a lot of games like that since then, and I have become desensitized. To that. To where I've played, God, what's the game? It's set in space.
Dead Space?
Dead Space. Now, 7 or 8 years ago, I played that game, the first one for Xbox 360. And baby mom's was pregnant at the time. She's eating a bowl of corn on her stomach. And I remember this vividly because this is a better memory than the actual scare itself. But something jumped out, and I don't even flinch. And I look over, and my wife is covered in corn because she had jumped. Because she was terrified of it. But I have seen
popcorn, or was it just corn?
Corn. Eating corn out of a bowl.
Weird.
Weird. She still does it.
Whatever.
But it's this memory I have because I'm looking over and I remember thinking like, why the hell are you so scared? But then I remembered like I've played so many horror games and seen so many horror movies to the point that I've become so desensitized to a horror.
Okay, to a horror. Randall Thomas. Not afraid.
I'm not.
Okay. So I actually then have got. So I really like the idea of either like of content creators who do challenges for their fans.
Yeah.
And usually it's in response to a certain number of viewers, or in our case listeners, soon viewers, soon. Hopefully. So I have a challenge for you, Randy Thomas.
Okay.
And that's we both watch some Let's Play. Me far more than you. And I think that we should do a Let's Play of Five Nights at Freddy's. Since you're not afraid of no ghost.
You sent me that to watch one of the other guys play it, and I watched maybe 5 to 10 minutes of it, and it was very creepy.
Yeah.
Now, the goal is to get to the point from creepy to horror.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
So yeah, so I consider like jump scares also. I think are count as horror, right?
I would agree. If I jump up like I'm scared.
Okay, cool. Yes. Cool. So then Five Nights at Freddy's, we'll do that. Cool. So, what do you think like is scariest in horror? Like what?
Scary, because I can tell you what I like. My preference is gore. Like a lot of 80s, like I'm trying to think the first 3 Evil Dead movies.
Mm-hmm.
Very funny, really gory, over the top, blood and guts.
So like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
And
I think
Hellraiser.
that was going more towards horror than gore.
Mm-hmm.
Gore to me is like Reanimator. Have you seen Reanimator?
I have not. I have not.
The guy tries to bring back to life.
Yeah,
like,
well,
his
I know.
cat.
I know.
It's disgusting.
I've seen Pet Cemetery.
It's Pet Sematary is so funny. Like that's the kind of movie I like in a horror movie. Because to me, it's not trying to be scary. It's trying to be over the top and ridiculous, which exemplifies a large part of my personality.
Yeah.
It's funny to me.
Yeah.
But you talked about the difference earlier in another episode about the difference between funny and amusing.
Mm-hmm.
I think gore is genuinely funny.
It's
not just amusing.
Well, that's why that's what you go for. It's not because of
But it's fun. No. The jump, the scare. Like, I guess a good way to bring this full... Just to bring it around a little bit. I don't do roller coasters. I hate roller coasters. I hate going fast. I hate moving fast. I hate rides that spin around really fast. I don't like to ride go-karts.
Oh, really?
The feeling of going like that with the wind in your face makes my gut like jump up into my throat. And I hate that feeling.
So for me, I used to hate roller coasters. And I mean, like, to be clear...
And then you stop being a little bitch.
Is
that what you're about to say?
Your words, not mine. So I have a paralyzing fear of heights. Like,
oh, no. Okay.
Inborn, like, for as long as I've lived, like I used to have a problem with stairs. Like, I still have a problem with stairs that are too steep.
What about the ones at work? Those are pretty steep.
No, those are fine.
Okay.
Those are fine. But I'm talking about the ones from, like, 50 years ago that are, like, 4 inches of step and at, like, a greater than 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
Right? You know?
One tumble and you're done.
Yeah. There's no stopping yourself.
Do you think
right?
it's the
You're
fear
lucky
of...
you have a railing.
The fear of potentially dying?
It's actually not the heights. It's not even the falling. It's the stopping.
Okay.
That scares me.
Long term. You're always thinking
But my
long-term.
lizard brain doesn't articulate that to me.
Sure.
It's just like danger.
As it should.
Yeah.
It is dangerous.
Yeah. So I was So as you can imagine, I was terrified of roller coasters. My first roller coaster was Thunder Mountain Railroad at Disney World.
Okay.
Have you been to Disney World?
I went when I was 6.
That doesn't count.
And I hated it.
If you don't remember Thunder Mountain Railroad, it doesn't count.
I remember Splash Mountain and thinking this is really stupid.
All right. So, Thunder Mountain Railroad is like Splash Mountain, except with more roller coaster and less
water.
splash.
Less bear and song.
Oh no, there's still animatronics and singing and stuff like that.
Okay.
I believe.
That to me is more horrifying than the fall itself.
You're gonna love Five Nights at Freddy's. So yeah, no, I was terrified. Like, my dad was sitting on my left side and my grandmother was sitting on my side. I was literally trying to get out of the car, like, in the middle of, like, going so fast. Like, I was fucking done. But, like, and the pirate ships that do the back and forth.
Yeah,
and
those
then
ones.
upside down.
Yeah.
Those were the worst.
Really?
Absolutely the worst. Because that is just heights. It's not, you don't even have, like, the speed or anything to, like...
Yeah.
And there was one, like, I can tell you, I went with my family to, I think, MGM.
Okay.
When it was still called MGM.
Right. What's it called now?
I don't remember.
It doesn't matter.
It's not called MGM anymore.
Yeah, sure.
And that was the first time I went on Tower of Terror.
Okay, I've been on that before.
Yeah, and stuff like that.
That scared you?
I mean, technically, it still scares me.
God,
but
it's so lame.
But that was the first time, and like my dad, being my dad, really kept like poking me. So like, like poking my fear and stuff like that.
Sure. Well, good for him.
And stuff like that, and like I think I actually overheard my parents sort of like talking amongst each other while we were in line for one of the rides. I think it was Tower of Terror, where like they knew that I was terrified. Like they understood how scared I was, because my mom's brother, my uncle, is terrified of heights.
Is he the bisex one?
He's not.
Okay.
No, that was my dad's brother.
Okay.
And so so they had decided that it was not okay that I didn't like roller coasters.
That's stupid.
And that they were gonna like hit me with like aversion therapy, and they were like, there's nothing wrong with it. And once he does it enough to realize that there's nothing wrong with it.
That comes from a part of parenting that is actually works. I don't know what you would call it, but like getting your kid to ride a bike when they're afraid to ride a bike.
Yeah.
Or getting your kid to confront their friends when they're afraid to confront their friends.
Mm-hmm.
Or getting your kid to eat something on their plate, like an Italian sandwich when they love pizza, but they won't eat this Italian sandwich. It tastes the fucking same.
Yeah.
You know, those kind of things you just get accustomed to as a parent trying to teach your kid, well, you like pizza, eat your goddamn sandwich.
Yeah.
Or you complain all the time, now just tell your friend how you really feel.
Yeah.
Things that can apply to real life. I think that kind of rolls over into the lesser important things.
And I'm sure what it was is that they were worried. They didn't want me to not do just anything else.
Yeah, nobody wants a little bitch as a son, to be fair. I mean, I don't have any sons.
Yeah. But you keep popping it out. It's like, of course, it is based on you. So
yes, it is.
So the thing is that it worked. Is that like I love roller coasters now.
Oh shit!
I can't get enough roller coasters.
See, I thought you were gonna use this as a time to complain about your parents, but you love roller coasters.
I love roller coasters now. Like I will the thing is like roller coasters. Like I'll get off a roller coaster and they'll be like, "Let's do it again."
Crazy, dude.
Like yeah, and it is the exact opposite of what
roller coasters freak me the fuck out. Like beyond horror, beyond
terror.
You
like terror. The word you're looking for is terror.
It's terror for me.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Because it's not fun. It's painful. Because we talk a lot about the challenges as far as what I will do and what I will not do for the show. And I will do a lot of things that cause physical harm to my body.
You'll get punched in the face, apparently.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I don't mind. Riding on a roller coaster is the worst thing in the world to me.
Wow.
I hate it. And I've ridden on probably 3 in my life. And maybe only like 1 as an adult. And I said, you know what? I'm okay with not ever doing this again.
What if we start with like a kiddie roller coaster that just goes like...
I think I'll be okay with that.
It has like a difference.
Whatever my daughter can
6
ride, I can
feet.
ride.
You know, exactly. What if we start with one of those? We do like 3 or 4 of those.
So
and then we go to like the teacups.
Okay.
And then we do the teacups.
What about you with your fear of heights and a Ferris wheel? Because I can do a Ferris wheel.
I'm fine. No, my fear of heights only comes in when I don't have solid ground underneath me.
Okay.
And so like it's a little unsettling at the top of a Ferris wheel.
Sure.
But I'm fine. You know, like a zipper though. I think I've like one. Do you know what a zipper is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. With like the cages that spin around
Yep.
on like a track, that's a little weirder.
Yeah.
But like with a Ferris
Makes me
wheel,
throw
like
up.
I'm super fine.
There's this Gravitron. Have you ever seen the Gravitron?
Yeah, love the Gravitron.
I rode that when I think I was 15 or 16 in front of my girlfriend. And I was trying to be so manly and like tough it out, and I was throwing up and like being this huge bitch. Like I rode it.
Yeah.
Despite not wanting to, because I wanted to seem like I'm this manly man. And
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's a Gravitron, bro. It's not.
Oh my god.
You need to go on Space Mountain.
And I threw up everywhere, and it was like so sick, and we had to go home. And it was so, like, she had to drive because I couldn't drive anyways. It was so embarrassing.
But now we have to go to someplace. We'll get it on video.
No. Don't do this.
Bonus
to me, man.
content.
Ah.
Make sure you're part of that tier.
So what do you think the psychology is in horror for a movie that's scary, or let's say a video game that's scary?
Are you aware of Lovecraft?
H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this line of thought that's why movies and video games are so bad at doing Lovecraftian stories. And it's because they end up showing the monster. And Lovecraft's horror is all about the unknown. And I can sit here and I can describe to you this creature's effects, and I can talk about texts that talk about them, and I can like stuff like that. And what you see in your head is going to be infinitely, sort of like when someone says, "Don't lie to me. Whatever you did, just tell me and we can work through it." I don't have a problem with that. But don't lie to me, because whatever it actually is infinitely less bad than what I'm going to come up with in my head.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Doug as a kid?
Yeah.
There was an episode. There's only 2 seasons of Doug, believe it or
Really?
not, before it got
It
sold
seemed
off
like
to
it was
Disney.
way more.
Because I've watched every episode 100 times. Because that's all they played on Nickelodeon, and it was incredible.
As opposed to Rocko's Modern Life, which had like 2 seasons of 1 episode.
It was great.
Yeah.
Both were great.
Yeah.
But I watched a lot more Doug than I did Rocko's Modern Life, although I watched both. So, in Doug, there's an episode where everyone's afraid to go to the movies because there's this scary monster in the movie.
Oh.
And so the bully, Roger Klotz, takes Doug to see, like, basically scares him into it and, like, intimidates him into
Scare
it.
naps him.
So he says, why won't you ever see it? What are you afraid?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So they go, and Doug watches the movie. And everyone, he looks over at the time, the big reveal of the monster, and he looks over, and even the bully
You can see
covers
the
his
zipper.
eyes, and he looks at the TV or the movie screen. It's a zipper.
Yeah.
And he looks so fake and ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that just to kind of piggyback on your point, your imagination does far more damage
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
than what actually is. Because even with roller coasters, I know I'm not going to die,
Mm-hmm.
probably, on a roller coaster.
Yeah. Almost certainly.
Almost certainly. It's not about dying or not dying. It's not about the end game. It's
But
like...
being close to death. Like, you may not die, but, like, your lizard brain...
No.
doesn't die.
Because it's 100% lizard brain. Because it's not a thought of, I'm going to die. It's, oh shit.
I need to not be in this situation.
I hate this.
Yeah. This is not okay.
Yeah.
Right. Which is one of the reasons I think Five Nights at Freddy's would be really good. Because what it does is, unlike Dead Space, where you're going around and you're shooting things, and you have a lot of agency, right? You have a lot of, like, I'm going where I want to go, and if I run into a monster, it's because I've chosen to be in this place.
Yes.
You
You have control over the situation.
Exactly. Whereas with Five Nights at Freddy's, you're stuck in one place.
So why don't you tell the listeners what
is a Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah.
So Five Nights at Freddy's, there are 5 games now in the series. So Five Nights at Freddy's, the original one, which is the one we'll start with,
Okay.
centers around this pizza place that's Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. And it's supposed, for those of you listening in the U.S., that is like a Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
And so they have pizza, and they have these animatronics that perform and stuff like that.
Okay.
And
Well, have you played the game?
I have not.
You have not.
That is the thing.
So why are you projecting this on to me?
Because I know a lot about it.
Okay, and I know nothing.
You know nothing.
Okay.
So yeah. A lot of it has to do with me not being able to afford, like, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Do you want me to buy you? I will buy you the games.
Well, apparently one of us is going to own it either way. A lot of the reasons I watch it for, like, the Let's Players, like, I watch it for like their reaction and stuff. So the idea is that at night, the animatronics, like, walk around, because it's not like Chuck E. Cheese in that they're stuck on stage and they have these, like, really, like, super pre-programmed movements.
Well, the ones at Chuck E. Cheese don't really do that anymore. So it's more bubbly, it's more friendly, it's way less creepy than it used to be when we were kids.
Oh, cool. Well, this is most of the Five Nights at Freddy's are, like, set in, like, the 80s or early 90s.
Yeah.
And so it turns out that in reality that they're not, like, these really, like, pre-programmed things. It's that they have these set routines, but they do actually go out and walk around. Like, you could be having your pizza and Freddy Fazbear, with his microphone, will come up and, like, sing Happy Birthday or something like that. And so at night they continue to walk around because I think there's, like, this throwaway answer that it wreaks havoc with their programming to, like, have them shut down for so long, for like 12 hours or something like that. So then you play a night security guard, which I think would be interesting even a regular Chuck E. Cheese to be a night security guard. But yeah, so the idea is that you have to make sure the place doesn't burn down.
Okay.
But in the process, you also have to not die.
Now, how would you die from animatronics?
Well, because so, like, if the animatronics see you, because it's after hours and there should be no one around, if the animatronics see you, they're going to think that you are an animatronic without like a fuzzy sort of outer skin. And that's against the rules. And they know that. And so what they will attempt to do is they will take you, because they're animatronics and they're robot strong, and they will attempt to force you into one of the Fazbear characters' suits.
Yeah. Okay.
So the problem with that is there are no suits without animatronics already inside of them. So there's full of cross beams and you're dead, essentially.
Okay.
Blunt force trauma. And so the idea is you're sitting in this security room and you have to close your doors, you have to monitor cameras, all sorts of things. So it's what it does is it places all of the onus on, it removes all of your agency, but it's still your job to stay alive, basically. You're stuck in one place, you can only look left or right.
Okay. The issue with me playing that, couple things. My directional sense is really bad, so I'll forget almost immediately which direction they're coming from. Secondly, despite liking video games, I'm not particularly good.
Oh, that's fine. That's not a detractor. Believe me, I've seen some Let's Players.
Okay, I'm just making sure because I'm not good by any means.
Yeah, no, in fact, no, like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye will like repeatedly say like how bad they are at games. Except Markiplier is the king of Five Nights at Freddy's, but whatever.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this. Hey, Lazarus.
Hey, Randy.
Is everything done with our Patreon page?
Yeah, I finished it this morning.
Great, take it away, Mr. Announcer Guy.
Wait, what?
Do you like the things we talk about? Do you crave Lazarus's witty insights and Randy's dulcet tones? Did you know that TWTA produces additional content besides the weekly episodes, like bonus content, update letters, and personal thank you notes? Did you know you could get these benefits and more by becoming a Patreon at www.patreon.com/TWTA? Lazarus made sure to find a process simple enough for Randy to use.
Hey.
So we know you can too. Fans pledge $1, $3, $5, or more a month. The amount you choose will determine your Patreon tier, which will determine what sweet, tier-exclusive benefits you'll receive. Together, these patron pledges not only allow you, the fans, to increase your participation, but also give Lazarus and Randy increased ability to create more and better content. Each goal achieved will unlock things like new kinds of content, one-time host challenges, additional weekly updates, and one step closer to having conversations that matter full time. TWTA's Patreon page also features an all-post feed, where you, the fans, can get in on the conversations, post fan art, get to know the community, and leave comments for your intrepid host. Starting the process is as simple as going to patreon.com/TWTA and clicking the Become a Patreon button.
So we're back. We talked a little bit about horror. We talked a little bit about being afraid of heights. We talked about Resident Evil. We talked about Five Nights at Freddy. We talked about old school 80s gore flicks.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. What do you qualify as a horror? Now, I know you said that you used to be afraid of heights and you still struggle with it a little bit. What is horror to you?
Well, so to clarify on the heights thing, like I am still, like there is like a mortal terror associated with heights, but I press it. Like I like, one day, if you and I find ourselves in Chicago, we'll go to, the Empire State Building, not the Empire State Building, Sears Tower.
I was gonna say, Jesus, dude.
I'm from Chicago. And it's not even Sears Tower anymore.
What is it?
I forget. An insurance company bought 65% of the, or like rented, they signed a contract for 65% of the space,
Okay.
and in exchange they got to rename it. I don't remember what the name is. But they have this thing called the Ledge. Which is like a plexiglass box that's on the side of the building. I'm sure it's like plate glass. I'm sure it's like super strong or whatever.
Right.
But it's like on the side. It's like on the like 150th floor or something like that. And so you can step out onto like within the plate glass box.
Oh, that's cool.
And like look around. And then because apparently whoever was doing this, wanted to take it to the utmost heroic step, the wall, like the outer edge wall, you can press on and it goes out to a 45-degree angle.
Oh,
So you were like leaning out above the city of Chicago.
that's
150 feet up.
that's pretty scary. 'Cause
Yeah,
you
yeah.
look, you can look down and then see downward.
Oh yeah, your lizard brain just goes DEFCON 1, DEFCON -6. Like it's mine does. But so I press it like so because I've been out, I've done that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, so as far as what is a horror, so I think the unknown qualifies a lot. Like it helps a lot. Like I think I agree that like Lovecraft was really solid, and that there are a lot of misinterpretations of
So
it.
let's kind of segue this into another version of being afraid
Okay.
is like phobias.
Yeah.
One in particular being like Islamophobia or homophobia or a lot of things like that. Because
That's a
phobia
segue.
literally means
To be afraid.
to be afraid.
Yeah.
Now you're saying fear of the unknown is mostly what people are afraid of.
So phobia actually doesn't mean to be afraid.
Okay.
Phobia in the original, like, in the way that it's used in like medical terminology and stuff, like in chemistry, you say something is hydrophobic, and that means that it repels water. It does not mix with water.
It's insoluble.
Yeah. It's insoluble with water because there are other things like
Sure.
like benzene or something like that
Okay.
that it could mix with, but with water, it's hydrophobic. So that is really more in the sense that stuff like homophobia or Islamophobia, or like social phobias are. The suggestion is not that you are literally afraid of them,
Okay.
although you could be. But when we speak about it generally, it's that you keep them away from you.
Okay.
You have like an energetic response that
Okay.
like separates you from them.
To create like a bounce back. Like
Yeah, like a barrier.
Okay. Now, do you think phobia is as far as like a height phobia, or like a
Acrophobia.
the spiders?
No, it's arachnophobia,
Was it?
which is a great movie actually.
What's the first one you said?
Acrophobia?
Versus
Like acrobat.
acrophobia versus.
Arachnophobia.
Okay, they sound the same. So arachnophobia
Yeah.
and all these other phobias of things that doesn't come necessarily from not knowing how not dangerous they are.
Well, yeah. So like, and again, even with like acrophobia and arachnophobia, it's keep it away from me. Right.
Okay.
It's you don't want to be a party to that. Like you want to keep it away from you. At all
I don't know a lot of
costs.
people that want to be part of a spider party.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
But not everyone's an arachnophobic.
Right. Although if your argument is that like that most people would not want to just hang out with spiders, then most people are a little bit arachnophobic.
Yeah, I see a spider.
If their response to a spider is kill it with fire, they're a little bit arachnophobic.
I don't want to kill it. I want to smash it with a shoe.
Well, whatever.
Does that make me arachnophobic?
Is it like a gut response? Is it just like...
Usually, I don't notice. I'm not very observant, but one of the girls will say something like, "There's a spider," and so I just grab a shoe and I smash it, and then I make them.
So
pick
I
it
don't
up.
think that counts, but
Like cockroaches are the same thing. Like we get a lot of cockroaches in Florida, and I've seen a lot of people freak out when they see a cockroach.
yeah,
A lot of people
yeah.
freak out, but the cockroaches don't do
It's
anything.
irrational fear.
They do no harm.
Yeah,
They're gross looking, but so are lobsters. You know what I mean?
yeah.
People have no problem with that.
Well, lobsters actually used to be peasant food, FYI.
but tell me more.
Yeah. So it started the 20th century, so 1900s.
Okay.
They were peasant food because they're sea bugs.
Yeah.
That,
They
you
look
know,
like
they're
cockroaches.
super common. You can just pull them out and stuff like that. But then times was hard, right? And like meat started getting really hard to get meat, and so high-end restaurants started serving lobster, and suddenly.
But how is it the inflation of price? Because lobster is like the steak of seafood.
Well, that's what you've been told.
But is that an artificial inflation?
Oh yeah, no. Like now it's harder to get because
I've never had it.
We've been fishing them. We've been pulling out of the ocean so hard. So now they definitely might be scarcer. But I mean, have you ever been through like a Publix and not seen a lobster?
Occasionally that happens, but not often.
But you don't think that Publix was unable to get lobsters.
Right.
Right. No, lobsters are more than
No,
plentiful.
I think someone forgot to order them is what I think.
Yeah. Exactly. There are lobsters that are available. It's the opposite with mac and cheese. Mac and cheese used to be a high-end, like, entree.
No shit.
Sort of thing. Or I don't know if it's entree or side, but it's a high-end, like, dish. And it wasn't until, like, the early to mid 1900s that we, like, Velveeta and stuff like that, we figured out how to, like, do cheese without being cheese and stuff like that. Like, we understood the chemical process, and even, like, the natural, like, making of cheese. Like,
Sure.
we really understood the chemical processes.
Right. When it
behind
becomes,
cheese.
you can dry it out and just add water and it's
Oh
good.
yeah, or whatever. Yeah. Macaroni and cheese before that was a high-end thing because you had to, like, it's easy. Cheese is super easy to burn, right? And you had to
Yeah.
have enough cheese to just only have noodles and cheese, right? And then be able to do it properly.
So was cheese like a hard thing to come by?
No harder than anything else, but it's still, like, if you buy real cheese, you know what I mean? It's going to be cheaper than the shredded cheese that you're buying at Publix, right? If you buy, like, a wheel of Parmesan.
Well, I'm trying to put myself in place of someone a long time ago when
Yeah.
that was a delicacy.
Yeah.
So if I were having you and some friends over for dinner and wanted to impress you with mac and cheese,
You would. You absolutely would.
what would I do and
Well,
why was it expensive?
If you were serving mac and cheese, you wouldn't do anything. But the person who was cooking your food,
Right.
would they would go to market and they would have to buy the cheese and they would have to melt the cheese and they would have to. There was no dry mix. I don't know when, like, the classic blue box, like, when that came
Yeah,
around.
it's so good.
But, like, that would have been decades, like most of a century, after the invention of mac and cheese.
Are people afraid of cheese? Is there a cheeseophobia?
I'm sure there is.
I got a friend, well, once upon a time he was a friend and I haven't talked to him.
He's a
in long
person
time.
you used to know.
Person I used to know who is terrified of butter. Like sticks of butter. If he sees them, he will throw up almost every time.
I'm not a psychologist,
But
that he's not afraid. 'Cause I had a friend, I have a friend, still a friend. I don't know if it's still an issue with him. Who, like, if he ate mushrooms, he would throw up. If he found out that he had eaten mushrooms after the meal,
but if you didn't tell him,
right? But if he found out afterwards,
Yeah.
he would throw up.
but if you didn't tell him, he was fine.
Correct.
Okay.
And so that to me says that it's not the mushrooms.
Um,
It's not the butter.
For my buddy, he's okay with it being cooked in things, and he's okay with it being in things. But if he looks at like a slice of butter, he gets sick to his stomach and wants to throw
Yeah.
up.
So that is like I used to, so, like, it just being, like, sick to your stomach, like, I used to not like key lime pie.
It's gross. There's a reason.
Well, that was because I had like way too much key lime pie in, like, a 2-week period, and it took
Okay.
me, like, the better part of a decade to just be able to eat this stuff again. And so I'm wondering if that isn't what it is, and he just doesn't remember eating too much butter or
Well,
something.
he's a big guy, so maybe.
But, like, everyone has, like, their tequila story, and they may not remember what happened while they were
Right.
drinking tequila, but their body remembers
Remembers.
what happened
Right.
while they were drinking
The
tequila.
reaction is the same.
Exactly.
I had a manager at a company I used to work for who was I don't want to say afraid, but I don't know the word
Averse?
with cotton balls.
Oh.
And the feel, the texture, and the sight of cotton balls freaks him out. And I had moved on from that company since then, but through the grapevine and keeping in touch with old friends and stuff, I heard that someone, as a prank, filled up his locker
With
cotton balls, the whole thing. Thinking, oh, this can't be real. He'll probably have a laugh and then get over it.
Being a terrible person.
But he freaked out, screamed, "Who the fuck did this?" at the top of his lungs, and someone admitted to it. And he grabbed that person by the throat, slammed them against... He's a manager.
Yeah.
Slammed them against the wall and screamed at them for like 10 minutes.
Wow.
And eventually got fired.
I would assume so.
Because he was
'Cause he was-
afraid of cotton balls.
I don't know what to tell you.
And how much of that do you think is personal ownership versus knee-jerk reaction fear?
Well, I think after the initial Like I'd even give him up to who the fuck did this. After that, it's sort of like when does a crime of passion stop, and when does premeditation begin? Right.
That's a good question.
You know what I mean? Like if you find something out, you flip out and you stab someone, probably a crime of passion.
Right.
But if you find find something out, flip out, drive for 20 minutes,
Right.
and then stab someone, that is no longer a crime of passion, right?
Well, let me ask you this. There's a scenario I'm extremely familiar with, and it's local,
Okay.
of two girls fighting over a boy.
Okay.
And at first, they hated
Is it
him.
you? Are you the boy?
No. This isn't my story.
Okay.
But I am indirectly involved. So there's two girls fighting over a boy, and they're like 18, 19 years old, and he's probably 20. At first, they find out that he's cheating on them with each other, and they join forces against him. But eventually, he's so sly, he makes each one seem like they're individually important, and the other one was the mistress. And this is before Facebook, so this is like the MySpace days, and like when text messaging first came out.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, so it was almost 10 years ago when this happened. And he convinced each one that they were the one, and that he wasn't seeing the other one. And then they found out that he was still seeing the other one, but they had been so convinced that the other one was the mistress, they started fighting each other and sending each other like death threats on Facebook, like I'm gonna kick your ass, I'm gonna go to you and I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. You stay away from my man. Oh no, fuck you! I'm gonna kill you. You come over here, I'm gonna kill you. So the one girl drove to the girl's house, the other girl's house. The other girl was waiting there with a knife and stabbed her.
That's
That's all the context you need, really.
yeah. That's not fear.
And of course, the one who was stabbed died.
Yeah.
And how would you take that? Was that premeditated? Was that a crime
It was
of passion?
premeditated.
Okay, because
She didn't, because like, at least from what you said, the girl B did not show up at house A unannounced.
she knew. Yeah, she
She knew
said, "I'm coming over to kick your ass."
Yeah, she knew that girl B was coming, and at that point, it ceases to be like, come on, like she had a knife ready to go, like,
If they were talking in the kitchen,
and
then they got
girl
into an
B like
altercation.
just said something offhand or something or off color or something like that, and the knife was grabbed and stabbing happens. That's a crime of passion. I don't know if that makes it okay.
it's still a crime,
It makes it a different kind of thing.
but it's still a crime.
Yeah. It's still a crime.
Still murder.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
a different kind of. I think it's like third degree at that point. She ended up getting this woman A, the one who killed woman B, was charged with I think 20 years.
I think third degree is like you were involved in it, but like I think second degree is crime of passion.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
She
Like,
got second degree.
Yeah.
That's what she got. And it was 20 years.
Yeah.
And I think it's like 10 with good behavior or something.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah. That's not fear. That's jealousy. Well, jealousy is sort of like fear. A lot of people think that jealousy is like a fear of your significant other leaving you. It is not.
What is it?
Jealousy is a fear of being replaced. And so when a significant other, be they a guy or a gal, because they are equally, like, society says that it happens more with ladies.
I wouldn't think so.
But no,
No.
they are equally as susceptible to it for different reasons.
Right.
But definitely equally as susceptible. They start going after this third party, or their significant other or whatever, but that's because they don't trust their significant other.
Okay.
Right. So what it is a lack of trust. It's a fear of being replaced, born out of a lack of trust. Because if you trust your significant other, you shouldn't care who they hang out with.
That's true. That's very true. Now, because I agree with that side, and I've never, not since grade school, have I had an issue with jealousy.
Oh, good for you.
I had a really bad one when I was in high school, and then I realized how bad it was after it was over, and then moved on. Like, I broke up with her, despite me, like, being wildly in love with this girl, and her being incredible to me. I broke up with her because she went to a party that had guys at it,
Yeah.
and I wasn't there.
You freaked the fuck out.
I flipped out. So I broke up with her, and then that was that. And then I learned from that lesson, and that was something I regretted for a very long time. But jealousy can lead... I don't know if that's... Because to me, like, when you're afraid, you know you're afraid. When there's horror, you know that it's scary. But with jealousy, I feel like that just kind of comes in. You don't realize it.
So like the thing is that if you signed up for it, you know. Like if you go to a horror movie or you're on a roller coaster, you signed up for it. You know that you're in to be afraid, and so when it starts happening. But like fear, like if we're talking about like capital F fear, is like a super base thing that bubbles up, and so
survival. It
changes your operating system as it's operating. So you may not realize you're acting. It's like it is the foundation for crimes of passion, because if you knew what you were doing, you would never do that, right?
Right.
That's why we say a crime of passion is different, because if we thought this person would do it if they were, you know, in their right mind, if they were thinking rationally, then they wouldn't have done it, and that's why we're going to give them a pass or give them partial blame. Right.
It's like heat of the moment versus planned out,
exactly,
cold-blooded.
Premeditation, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the idea, is that in that moment, in those moments, when you are gripped by passion or fear or whatever word you want to use for this, you don't know. And you just act. There is no thought. You just do.
Just do it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you wake up later. Then you realize what you've done.
Right.
You know? So yeah, so like that's where I was going with that.
So what would you do if there was a lover's triangle, you were involved, and you were afraid that your lover was about to be taken by this other person whom you hated?
So here's the thing. First of all, usually people say love triangle and they mean two people involved with one person. That is a love angle. It is 3 points connecting to the same point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, the bottom two are not connected.
Yeah, a love triangle would be 3 people involved with...
Triad.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, which I am all about. But as far as like losing, so it's like T Swift says.
Oh God. Okay.
No, someone asked her like
just continue
about her early work. Because a lot of her early work is about jealousy and about, you know, these other women coming in.
Hate is good. Hey. Is that song about jealousy?
No.
Okay.
It's before that.
Okay.
It's a lot of like her worry that people are gonna steal someone away from her, or she's trying to steal. So what she said, was that you can't steal anyone away from a relationship that doesn't want to leave.
Listen to our older episodes where I complained about people lifting up celebrities as spokespersons of...
No. I just think that someone said it better than I did, and I'm not going to try and do it better.
I promise you could do it better than Taylor Swift.
Well, you know, that would be my answer. It would have been verbatim anyway. Is that like you can't take someone away from a relationship they don't want to leave.
Still better when you said it.
Just because, whatever. So. I mean, I don't know how, like, my, like, weird human reactions would be. I think I would try to talk to them.
You would try talking first?
Yeah, and it'd be like, I feel like you're pulling away. And I feel like either I'm not doing enough, or something is different. Like, if I have that sense, right, then I am justified in saying that I think something feels different.
Let's say you found out that partner A was cheating on you with their ex. Let's say that's the case. What would you do? How would you handle
turn
it?
up the volume? So it is cheating, right? Because my whole thing is that it's not cheating if it's not breaking the rules. So we have said that this is either an exclusive relationship,
right,
or it has to be, you know, cleared ahead of time or something like that.
Right.
So, with their ex, I mean, me, like, I don't expect to represent the vast majority of people.
Well, I'm not asking the majority. I'm asking you.
Okay. I would talk about it. We have to talk about it. Like, if you like, first of all, I would prefer that you talked about it before I found out about it.
Of course.
Second of all, if I find out about it and I come to you and ask about it, don't lie to me about it. Right? If I have found out about it without you telling me it, and I have come to you about it, and then you lie about it, and I find out a couple months later or something like that.
That makes you
like
a
I
liar
have
and a cheat.
Proof. Right, exactly. Like, then it's no longer, because whatever it is, and this is the way I was raised, and this is what my parents told me. It's like,
Sure.
whatever you did, just tell the truth about it, because once you lie about it, that's what it's about. It's no longer about what you did before. It's that you lied about it.
It took me a long time to figure that out, personally, based on the way that I was raised, was that I would always get in trouble for lying and for what I did.
Yeah.
And so what I would do, I would just lie even more, being more and more afraid of the repercussions of being found out. And it took me probably until I was like later teens, early adult, to be like, well, if I just am honest, I might get a slap in the wrist, but at least like I won't.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the thing is that it's because a lot of relationships are based on trust. Like that's what that is. Right. And so like you don't, like, someone who doesn't get jealous trusts their significant other, right? That they're not going to cheat. So I don't care if you go to a party with half naked girls, whatever. You're coming home to me, and that's what matters, right? And so, because the only scenario where I should be worried, well, there's two scenarios. One is either you somehow can't help yourself, which is not a defense.
Well, it is when you have a penis.
It isn't, though.
To be
is
fair,
the thing, and that's actually one of the bigger problems with masculinity today is this idea that men are these animals.
It's not today; it's always.
Well, yes, but it's fixable today, right? Is what I mean. Like it's still a problem today. So is that this idea that men are animals and they can't control themselves, and so it's not their fault; it's the other woman's fault. It has nothing. Never mind that, like, she stole him away. It's not that he left.
Yeah, that's stupid.
It's that she stole him away, which is the narrative almost all the time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
To me. Don't be mad at the woman. Be mad at your spouse.
Oh,
your
yeah,
husband,
yeah, because he's
boyfriend.
the one that knew. So yeah, so like the two scenarios are either he can't control himself, which is not a defense, it's not true.
Right.
Or he was always going to cheat. Like you shouldn't have trusted him in the first place. And if you shouldn't have trusted him, why are you in a relationship with him?
Right.
You know? Those are the two scenarios.
So you feel like the insecurity that comes from, let's say, husband with wife. Wife says, no, you can't go to a strip club for this bachelor party. And he says, okay, and then goes anyways. Because it's his like best friend's bachelor party. Who's in the wrong?
So my question would be, I am not a psychologist. I'm not a family therapist. But...
You're not a doctor either.
I'm not a doctor yet. And I won't be a doctor in this, even when I am. So my question would be, why did she not want him to go? Right? Is it because he needs to tuck the kids in? If she doesn't want him to go because he's worried that he's going to run off with a stripper, there are bigger problems than him going to a strip club.
Okay.
You know, there are, like, why do you think that he's going to do that? What has caused you to think that? And if there is no basis, then that's jealousy.
And do you feel that same way about like pornography?
No, not at all.
Okay, so let's say,
I mean, it depends on what you meant by that, but
your partner is looking at pornography. Let's say yours was. Would that bother you? That
I know that there are people, and I have heard that it's usually women, but I don't know that, so I'm not gonna.
I only know that it's women.
Plant my flag on that.
It's been 50% of the women that I've dated have had an issue with it.
Okay.
Half.
Yeah, and they see it as cheating.
Yeah.
Why? So that's usually my first question.
And we actually have an episode planned for pornography coming up pretty soon, and I'd like to talk to you about that in detail. But
can't wait.
I just wanted to see that insecurity, because to me, insecurity comes from fear.
Yes.
The fear of blank. I'm insecure in front of a crowd because of the fear of looking like a shithead in front of these people. I'm insecure to talk on a podcast because what if I say the wrong thing? What if I mispronunciate a word?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What if you're a pedant?
Yeah, so what if I'm a pedant and I talk about the same thing in circles for an hour?
Yeah. Yeah.
What if that happens?
Stuff like that. No, yeah, right. I get it. And so it does come from base fear, and like we like our relationships to be solid and reliable. And if you're worried, that your spouse or your significant other or whoever is gonna peace out at the next time a hot piece of ass comes around,
Right.
that's not their fault. Like, it's either it's your fault for not trusting them or your fault for being in the relationship. Disclaimer.
Okay.
Some people are stuck in relationships that are really hard to get out of,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
abusive
you
and
can't
stuff
get your
like
way
that.
out.
That is
Yeah.
not what I'm talking about.
No, I don't think
right,
anyone would
because
take
you
it
are
that way.
probably not the crazy jealous party
Right.
in this scenario, if
Yeah.
that's the case.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I like to pull it back to one of my favorite topics, which is individual responsibility. It's like, you should know what you're getting into before you get into it.
Yeah.
And you should take ownership of the fact that you either knew and you did it anyways, or you weren't paying attention.
It's like relationships that break up because of cheating, but the person cheated in their previous relationship.
Oh,
Like,
that's so frustrating. Right.
Don't act surprised.
Yeah.
Like,
I know a woman that I work with that she met her current spouse because she cheated on her old boyfriend with this guy, and this guy will not let her go anywhere. It's like, but you knew.
listen,
What
the
you were
first
doing.
time someone, a significant other, or some or the equivalent, says to me, "You're not allowed to X," he's either going to be no longer alive or no longer my significant other. Probably the latter.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been
What we talked about.
If the cord was in your right